What's going on, Jets fans? It's your boy DT back with another video. Wanted to give my 3 keys to victory on how the Jets can avoid their 0-4 start against the likewise 0-3 Miami Dolphins. First key point, dominate the trenches. This needs to be an impose your will type of game for the New York Jets on both offense and defense. Our offensive line needs to get back to the run blocking that they showed in week 1 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Impose their will against the Miami Dolphins front. This defense is leading the league in time of possession, so they are getting gassed on the field week in and week out. That means you can establish long drives. They're also surrendering over 140 rush yards per game, so you got to get all of your run game going. Brees, Braylon, Fields back in the lineup. Impose your will up front on offense, and then defensively, you have to get the ball or keep the ball into his hands for that extra half second, right? If he gets to his first read, usually behind the line of scrimmage, he's able to make better plays. But if he has to go to his second read, he's very hesitant. Sometimes he throws the ball away. He avoids taking those hits. So you have to be able to create quick pressure, which I know it's not something the Jets defense has been able to do, but this is something that they should be able to do against an inexperienced offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. That I believe they're also down a starter on the right side, and then they have some first and second year guys over on the left side in Patrick Paul and Jonas Savanaia. So got to be some areas and matchups where you can take advantage on the defensive front as well. And it feels like throughout the first 3 games, although the defense has not been great, defensive line is the one consistent point where it's like, okay, they weren't disastrous. They might not have created pressures, but they weren't, busting coverages in the back end and creating explosives for the opposing team. So the defensive line has to show up as well. So key point 1, dominate the trenches. The second point, activate your playmakers. In week 1, when Fields was, putting good things on tape from a quarterbacking perspective, we'll forget about week 2, obviously. I feel like that has always been the outlier for this season. Obviously, not saying that Justin will imitate week 1, but if you can get back to those roots, right, where you were more even as a pass run team, you were very unpredictable. The Steelers did not know what was coming more often than not. Garrett and Brees combined for 235 total yards in that game. So we need to get back to activating our playmakers. Fields back in the lineup. Hopefully they can get the game plan sprinkled in for more Mason Taylor. And hopefully that deep shot to Arian Smith that we've all been, hoping for. And when I went back and watched the All-22, I have some cut-ups of Arian Smith where he should have been the guy. And I understand, there's a progression to the quarterbacking on each play. And he might not have been the first or second read, but he was that third read. And it's like, damn it, if he was the first read, he would have been open and he probably would have scored a touchdown on some of these routes. Like that's how open Arian Smith was getting. So we need to activate our playmakers, Brees, Garrett, sprinkle in some Mason Taylor versus his dad's former team, and then Arian Smith as well. Let's get that rookie involved finally. And then my third point, and this is a shout out to Malcolm, my guest who I had on last night. If for anybody who didn't tune in, go back and check out the live stream I did last night with my guy Malcolm Flex. We talked about finding some bagglers. And if anybody eats fast food, you know what a bagler is. You find that French fry at the bottom of the bag and it's covered in salt. And that's that new wrinkle that the Jets coaching staff needs to pull out this week. Find those tendency breakers. I'm talking about Tanner Engstrand and Steve Wilks specifically. Engstrand, I want to see more true dropbacks under center. I've gone over the stat, 32 snaps under center for the New York Jets this season. 0 true dropback passes. It's all been play action or a designed handoff. So very, very predictable and a tendency breaker that needs to happen with a large enough sample size now on film. And for Steve Wilks on the defensive side, the bagler for him is just disguising more, maybe some early down disguising. It looked like he was pretty vanilla on early downs and started disguising more on third down, rotating from 1 high to 2 high. But you need to see a little bit more from Steve Wilks from a disguise perspective. So you have to understand that sometimes the talent isn't what you've had in other places. And that's something we talked about again last night. The Carolina Panthers defense was much different than the Jets defense when Steve Wilks was the coach in Carolina. So you have to understand that sometimes your personnel doesn't necessarily dictate everything you can do, and you can't be stubborn when you see it's not working. You have to adjust and put your guys in a better place to succeed. And he did make that quote again, which the coaches have been saying, and we just haven't seen it. So hopefully this week is the week where the coaching staff puts the team in the best position to win. The players are then able to execute and not miss 15 plus tackles, in the open field, because if this team beats you in the open field, we know what happens. They're a track star team. Sauce Gardner said it himself. They're going to get to the end zone quicker than not because Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, you miss them in the open field, it's over. So just some quick keys to victory. I'll be back on if any news breaks as far as injuries, but so far everything's good. No Jermaine, unfortunately, but Justin Fields should be playing as per Aaron Glenn. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to get Fields back in the offense. It should look, more normal again. And hopefully he does a little bit better than Tyrod did last week, and we can come away with a victory and pull the upset, which is silly that the Jets are, I guess it makes sense because they're away, that they're the underdog, but this is a very close game, what they call a pick 'em. And I'll take the Jets in this one. My final prediction right now is going to be 27-21. Obviously, barring any crazy news, but I don't foresee anything like that happening. So the Jets should be able to pull it out and be able to put points on the board. Until next time, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. We are now on the road to 2K, no longer 1K. I appreciate everybody. DT signing off. Let's go Jets.